Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Whole Wellness Mamas Summit, where we're unlocking the healthiest, less stressed mom in you using strategies from various wellness experts. I'm Amy Nesbitt, and I am excited to sit down and talk about how to fall back in love with your bodies with Nichole Wurth. She is a coach, author, and speaker who shows women how to become BFFs with their bodies. So every time they look in the mirror, they say, "Damn, I rock." Because when a woman sees how badass her body really is, she creates the life and body she's always wanted without force or willpower, while also finding her opinion, her voice, and her own power. I saw Nichole in another summit and absolutely loved her message because it's so easy to compare and think your body is less than or that we aren't doing things the right way. And it definitely got me thinking in a different way. So I'm thrilled that she is sitting down with me today to share more with you all. So welcome, Nichole.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here.
Everyone that is meeting you for the first time, can you share your quick story of how you came to where you are now?
Yeah, so I feel like my story is like through a lot of challenges with my body. And so I gained a lot of weight out of school and started doing what I thought everyone should be doing, which is dieting. And through the journey of dieting, now in hindsight, okay, not in the moment, but in hindsight, I realized that the dieting industry and every diet and exercise plan that I did was slowly chipping away at my self-esteem. So even though, yes, at the beginning I really wanted to lose weight, I didn't have like any big self-confidence or self-esteem issues. I just had some fat on my body that I wanted gone. And then through the process of doing all kinds of diets and exercise programs, it had chipped away at all of my self-esteem. I was just this anxious. I was anxious. I always needed a plan. I couldn't trust myself. I felt terrible, and I lost majority of the weight out of dieting. I really willpowered my way through it. I thought that it was like the hardest thing I'd ever done in the history of the world. And it was even after I had lost majority of the weight, um I still wasn't happy. And so I decided to get a boob job. And I thought, okay, like I have nothing to worry about now, like I'm good. But a few months out of surgery, I was going out with all of my friends. I had tried on all of my clothes and I didn't go because I felt fat. And it was kind of like a fall to my knees moment of like, what is going to give here? Like you have, lost the weight and gotten the boob job, and like it just felt like nothing was ever good enough. And I just kind of like surrendered of like whatever, like I thought that I was going to be happy once my body looked a certain way, and I was actually worse off. I felt worse. And now I could no longer blame my body for my problems because that was the culprit, right? Like it was a very easy equation for me. The reason why I'm broke and I have no friends, no good friends, and not in a committed relationship is because I'm fat. So not don't be fat and all of your solutions will be on the other side of that. And that was just not the case. And so I kind of just surrendered it. And um lo and behold, not that long afterwards, I met my now husband, and he was the total opposite of me. I was like your calorie counter. I would carry around these little notebooks and calorie count and plan and structure, and I like to a T, just very rigid. And he was like the total opposite, fun, free. Everything's about spontaneity and joy and pleasure and all these things, and it was so refreshing to me, even though really uncomfortable too. But, I was like kind of just started living life really, because my life at that point was making sure that I wouldn't gain the weight back, basically. And I started having fun and living life and feeling really good. And what I realized is like what naturally started to happen is my body started to balance in a very healthy way. I started to find acceptance and appreciation for what my body could do. I could go out on hikes, and I could, go camping and go on a motorcycle, and I could do all these things that I was not appreciative of with my body. And even my relationship with food was so much healthier because it was now like a fuel to my body. It wasn't like a strategy. And so that's kind of how Wildly Alive became what it was. Is it's a really what we're taught in terms of being healthy is the way that we're taught to be healthy is incredibly unhealthy.
Mhm.
It made me way worse, you know, like
Mhm.
really, really destroyed my self-esteem and trust in myself in such big ways. And then when I started like living my life and having fun and feeling joy and having pleasure, I didn't need all the rigidity. I could feel my intuition. I could trust myself as I navigated food. And I started moving in ways that felt really good, not just like going to the gym and hitting a certain amount of calories out on the elliptical, right? And so it, I felt healthy. You know,
Mhm.
like I felt
Mhm.
like before I looked healthy, you know, I looked really good, but I was a mess inside. I was far from healthy. And so that is like, that is how Wildly Alive evolved into what it has become.
That's amazing. And when you said refreshing about your husband's perspective, that was the exact word I was thinking too. And I just wanted to say, like, oh, I bet that's how it felt. So that's
Mm-hmm.
amazing. And it's so easy to compare how we look or what other people can do, or even to, especially maybe to our past selves, right? Especially if you're a
Mm,
mother. And let's be honest, our bodies change significantly post motherhood. And then
mm-hmm.
with social media and all the things that we can compare with. So, what would you
Mm.
say to that mama out there that absolutely feels discouraged about not being where they want to be?
Physically, like what their
Yeah,
body looks like.
yeah. Or just feeling like their bodies aren't enough, or kind of where you were saying, that you looked good, but you didn't feel like you felt comfortable in your own body, or you
Right,
wanted to be somewhere else, or you kept comparing with other people.
right. Yeah, I do think that there is kind of like a grieving process in motherhood, you know, like grieving the old self, grieving the past self. That definitely happens. And not only the physical self, but also the way that you operated in life. And like I remember comparing myself, not necessarily my body as much, because I feel like at that point I had really came to like it was a choice, like because there was a time in my life where I was so petrified on what children and pregnancy would do to my body that I was convincing myself that I didn't want children. And like that was so sad to me, you know, like is this really that important to you? Is having a flat stomach or a perky ass like really more important to you than becoming a mother?
Mhm.
And you know, like I had to really explore that and heal from this belief that my intrinsic value is in what the size of my body is. And so going into motherhood, it was really out of like this choice of like, okay, yeah, my body's gonna go through some shit and it's gonna create a human,
Mhm.
and it's definitely not going to look the same, but it created a human, you
It's
know, like, and
they're
so
powerful.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I did like kind of go into it with that knowing. I knew coming out of pregnancy, especially immediately out of pregnancy, my body was going to be the ugliest that it had physically looked like in a really long time. But I also really like I went through a really traumatic birth, and like to get on the other side of that, even aside from what my body looked like, I just felt like, oh, wow, we mothers are like fucking warriors. Like I felt like the biggest badass on the planet after, like I ended up having to have an emergency C-section and all of that, like, but I thought like, wow, like, wow, we are amazing, you know, like
We are.
I really. And so then too, I as I was going into postpartum, there would definitely be moments where I would feel sad with how my body looked, but then I would just remember the journey that she was just on and the journey that we went on together in the birthing process, and I would quickly just be like, whoa, like, gosh,
Mhm.
she's just done so much for you. And like, how could I be mad at her? How could I be upset with her? Now, when we think about out of, you know, we're talking about, you know, your kids are a few years old and your body is still not really necessarily reflecting what you want it to reflect. How I have really seen this now that I've had two, when you first have kids, it is not the season to be looking your most fit. Okay. We don't have a lot of time. It really is ultimately about deep nourishment and self care in a very non-vanity way, like it's like what is something that you can do that will truly nourish you and fill up your tank the most. For me, sleep is, like, I call these your non-negotiables. Sleep is definitely one. Like, I am one of those people who need a lot of sleep, and when I don't get a lot of sleep, it deeply affects me. So that's like a priority sleep, for sure. Like, this is really important. Making sure that I am eating consistently throughout the day, because that's something else that can really quickly go out the doors. You could forget to eat, or you're just like grazing when the kids are grazing, and you're not really like sitting and like nourishing your body with a meal. And also just like making sure I'm drinking enough water. Like, it does not sound fancy, it does not sound great, it's not revolutionary, but in one way it is, because exercise with both of my kids, the first year that I had them, I exercise was like backseat, like maybe I'll go on a walk, here or there, because I need it will be more about my mental health than my physical health, in all honesty. But like, exercising, getting fit, and creating physical change in your body, I really do not think should be a priority when you have young children. Like, you're gonna you're going to run yourself ragged. You need deep nourishment. That's what you need. And it might not look pretty when you look in the mirror, in terms of like what you think should be tight and not loose and not stretched out, but like, if you feel nourished, you will look in the mirror and feel good. You will be able to navigate the areas of your body that don't feel so good with more confidence and more groundedness and understanding. This is just not the season to be like hitting it hard and doing the weights and going on the runs. Like, it's just not the season of life. I mean, most people get into the best shape of their life, right, when their kids are a lot older. Now I see why. I was like, okay, well, you guys have a lot more time, because I'm literally waiting on these children hand and foot.
Yeah. And eating those food scraps as they're right.
Right. Yeah, we're eating the
Uh,
scraps.
yeah.
Exactly.
When he said all those things, I was like, yeah, yeah. If I remember eating the scraps and be like, no, I need to actually eat something. But my muscles, or my arm muscles from all the car seat lifting, man.
Right. Right. You get the mom arms. Hey,
Yeah, that's
we'll
right.
take it where we can get it.
Yeah. But let's talk about the movement piece. I know you kind of mentioned it, because I love your emphasis in the program of letting everything count, whether it's a 10-minute yoga session, impromptu dance party. And I
Hmm.
actually really like playing tag or trampoline with my kids, because I've tracked it on my watch before, and there's a lot of exercise going on. But
Hmm.
we have such an ability to discount those short movements, right? Or when it doesn't look like what a quote unquote workout should be. So, can you explain your belief philosophy around that?
Yeah, yeah, just like letting any like the power of 10. I call it the power of 10, which is like 10 minutes. You have to allow the little bits to count, especially when you're crazy busy, because like, so I have a 1-year-old. She's a little over 1. And I was thinking about the year her first year. And I was like, if I did not let the little bits count, if I did not let those 10-minute stretches on the floor, or doing a short Pilates video, or going on a 10-minute walk with the dog, or whatever, if I did not let those things count, 1 year postpartum, I would have felt so defeated. Like, I was just this lazy turd that just like sat around and got flabby, like, and it's so not true. We're like typically constantly in motion, like doing something. And so like, I'm on my feet all day, running up and down the stairs and doing the laundry and all these things. And so, like, just giving yourself some recognition for like, okay, maybe you're not like down on the floor doing planks today, even for just 10 minutes, but you're up and you're moving, and you're, like, you're going and you're in motion. And so you have to allow yourself to let those things count. And like, a little bit of movement can go so far, even just on your day to day. Like, this is such a silly example, and we've all heard this, and it's easy to discount it. But like, when I was at the coffee shop, and like the drive through was like around the building, and it's just like, sometimes drive throughs just really blow my mind. Like, now I see double drive throughs. I've never seen
Yep.
that before. I just saw that. Like, I live in a mountain town, so I don't think we're ever gonna have double drive throughs. But the first time I saw a double drive through, I was like, whoa, okay, all right. So wait, hold on a minute. Like, what we could probably just park our car and get out and get our food or a coffee faster. That was the thing, is I was like, I'm gonna get out of my car and go get a coffee inside, and I got it in like 2 minutes,
Yeah.
as opposed to like the people who have been waiting in line. And it's like, there are little areas. It sounds so silly, but it's like, okay, just get out of your car. Okay, now if you have children in your
Yeah.
car, like this is what I said. I was like,
Those are like the
okay,
best things in the
if
world, right?
if all these people if all these people have children in their car, I get it. Okay, great, whatever, I get it. Stay in the drive-through. But if all y'all don't have kids in your car, you need to get out and go inside. Like, this is silly. Like, it's silly to me, and every little bit counts. Like, just think about something like that, something as frivolous as that, added up 10 times in a day. Like, even, I know this sounds silly too, but like, even just opening your own door when you're walking into the grocery store. And I know like there's stuff around that and germs, whatever, but, and like there's automatic, but just think about like, all of these things are being taken away from us in terms of our physical body. And like, washing your own car, like, if I had spent a lot of the day sitting down and working at my desk and my car needed a wash, don't get me wrong, I would like the machine to do it for me, but I'm just kind of like, all right, I do not see like a workout in my future. So I'm just going to get out and I'm going to scrub my own car and just do the hand wash one. Like those, just think about how much those things have been kind of taken away from us, and machines are doing so much for us now, that even if we didn't move our bodies in a structured way and we still had all of those things, we all would be feeling a little better because we would have more movement in our life.
Yeah.
So
When you
it's like,
said
you
this,
really
yeah.
do have to let that, you have to see. And that's why, sometimes those watches could be really helpful, because it's really helping bring awareness to like, oh, okay, well, I didn't like work out today, but I definitely was moving,
Yeah. Yeah. When you said silly example, I was thinking of like, even when I go to the gym, because I like my like dance workout classes,
Hmm.
when I go, I try to find the closest parking spot, right? It's like, just
I know.
park a little far away. I'm coming to the gym to work out, but
Yeah.
yet I'm trying to look for the closest spot. Um,
Well, and this is the other thing, is our brains are wired to make things easy. And, back in the day, like, it was really helpful for us because, like, and especially like learning how to drive or learning how to tie your shoe. Now we can drive and like listen to a podcast at the same time, or we can drive and get kind of lost in La La Land and show up at our house and be like, I'm home. So there's a lot of beauty in this aspect of our brain of like learning things and neural pathways and things coming automatically and easily. And so a lot of this is just habit to like make things easy and comfortable, but we have to kind of catch ourselves and be like, yeah, this is silly. Like, just park right there. Just look, there's like 4 spots right there, like, just go.
yeah. Yeah, as we circle, right? Circle all the time.
Yeah, I know. It's so silly. It's so silly.
Yeah. And I do also notice that when I go into the office, because I go into the office a few days a week, I get so much more exercise actually than working from home, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
taking the stairs, I'm taking the stairs, or friends will come by to say, you want to go grab tea, water, whatever. And so I'm getting up a lot more than when I'm just at my desk, at my
Right.
house. I'm going up and down the stairs a few times, when I get hungry. but, but anyhow, um, I also want to talk about the mix of movements, because I know in your challenge you have different variety of, sometimes it's easy stretches, sometimes it's walk and talk, some
Mm-hmm.
were like really fun dancey things, some were challenges of playing some core work. Uh, I love that you emphasize listen to your body. Can we talk about, for the moms out there, they're like, well, do you have some sort of guideline of how many cardio type of things, or how many stretch type of things, rest days? If people want that structure, what would you say to them?
Yeah, no structure. And that, well, okay, so within our programs there is some structure, but the structure is really there just to kind of signal of like what feels best to my body. So for example, we do something called your baseline goals. So we set baseline goals. These are a set of goals that are eye rolling easy, and like we start very basic. If you like don't really have structured movement at all, it's like 3 days a week for like 20 minutes. And so you have kind of like a little bit of structure, 3 days a week. doesn't matter what day, right? 20 minutes, it doesn't matter what you do. And so there's some structure to bring forth the goal of like, okay, this is, I want to be doing some sort of structured movement every day. But to more than anything, it's about leaning into what your body is feeling like doing. And so, another way that I've categorized it that helps you with this is like, you have high energy things. You can do these things if you're feeling really high energy, which would be like, yeah, the dance fit class and the cardio classes and going on a run and, like things that are going to exert more energy and things like that. And then low energy, which is like Pilates, some, more relaxing yoga, stretching, walking, things like that. Because sometimes it is hard to navigate, what does my body want? And it's like, well, the first thing is like, do you feel like you want to do something high energy or do you feel like you want to do something low energy? And you can kind of navigate from there. And you might even be like, well, I don't even know. What did I do? High energy? I always say just pick one and then your body will help you navigate from that point. So if you start to go on a run and you're like, I'm just going to choose high energy because your mind thinks that that's the best choice, like the more calories that you burn, the better, whatever. And I would say if, within like 7 to 10 minutes, if you are really dragging, like it feels like bricks on your feet. You haven't hit that endorphin rush yet. Your body is probably saying you need to slow down. You need to like just go for a walk or something like that. So you have to do some ego work, you have to like some pride work and be like, okay, my body is telling me she wants to slow down. She wants to walk. So I'm going to remove the belief that the more that I do, the harder I go, the better that I am. And I'm going to acknowledge that the best thing that I can do right now is honor my body. She's wanting to slow down. She's wanting to do something a little bit more nurturing, a little bit more relaxing, and really allowing that. And so it's this whole idea that you should be doing back on Monday and arms on Tuesday or whatever. Those plans are really designed for a man's body, like a male body, and hormonally, physiologically, that works really well for them. And this is why typically if a man and a woman jump in one of those very structured programs to lose weight together, the man will lose weight and the woman won't. And the woman believes that she's just broken and, it creates this whole narrative. But traditional fitness exercise programs are designed for a man. They're not designed for a woman. A man's hormonal cycle is every 24 hours. And so, yeah, doing the same thing every single week makes a lot of sense. And that works really in the rhythm with his body. But a woman's body is every 28 days. If you are bleeding or not, it doesn't matter. This is how you're designed. And so we will have seasons of the month. We have a winter season, which the winter season is the bleeding season. And again, even if you're not bleeding, you still have this season where you're a little wintry. You're a little wintry, right? You're just like a little like you want to relax. You want to low key. You want to stretch. You don't want to do anything high intensity. And then we have seasons like summer. And this is the dance fit class. This is the cardio classes. This is all those things. And so it's hard for us to sometimes really accept this because our mind is just so trained to hit it hard and be in summer energy every single day. But it is going to be the greatest gift you ever give yourself if you understand that we as women are cyclical and our movement is cyclical. And sometimes there are phases of our cycle where we're meant to go inward and relax and not really move for a period of time. I know that when I'm actually bleeding, I do not want to move. It's very rare. And if it is, it's like a walk, like it's nothing. And then as we move into the next season, which is the spring, it actually takes me a while to like halfway through my spring phase is when I actually start to feel the little like, you'll feel it. You'll feel like your body will feel antsy. It will feel like it's ready to move. And then you'll move more in the high intensity. And then what I found is I actually am in a pretty high intense zone until just like a day or two before my period. And then I go into like a real restful period there. And so I found that out about my body and I trust it. And I see that if I go a few days without exercising, I'm not just like this lazy piece of crap who can never get her stuff together. Like that's, you have, if you can really lean into this, I am telling you, you will start moving your body consistently through like you want to think more of like a year kind of, structure. It's going to be cyclical every month, but you will not go these months without exercising, because if you have a period of your life where you really, or a period of your, yeah, even period of your life where you're going through something intense and you're really feeling wintry, but then you go into the narrative that you're never going to exercise again because this is just what you do. This is just what you do. Then you're going to override the signals of your body of antsiness and probably be miscommunicated with your body and start just like drinking wine, or scrolling or something like that. It's like this antsiness is there to help you get moving.
I love that you touched on the cycle. Yeah, because there's so much that we kind of try to do the same every single day, and it just doesn't work that way. That. I want to touch really quick on food too, because what we put in our bodies absolutely changes how we feel. And I know you have the acronym LOVER, LOVR, for what we eat. And I absolutely love food, which is why we have a YouTube channel and a food Instagram. But so this really resonated with me, and I emphasize this with my kids. This is why I really like family dinner together. It's just important to be with your food, right? Not with the TV, not with other things, and just putting it on the go. Can you elaborate a little bit on what you mean by that and how you teach our relationship with food?
Yeah. So again, like coming back to your body, like we talk a lot about body-led eating and letting your body make the choices. And I know initially, very similarly, I was like, I don't know what my body wants, or I can't trust my body, or my body just wants sugar. Well, that's not really true. The body was designed to eat whole foods, like that's how we were designed. But when we have been told long enough that you can't eat the bread, then all of a sudden all you want to do is eat the bread if you're not on a diet, right? And so it's the belief systems that are getting in the way of the wisdom that is here. And so one great tool that I teach is called the food lover concept. And it's not in any sort of step-by-step order, okay? It's just an experience that you bring to the table. So L stands for look at your food, right? Just be aware that you're eating. Like, hello, like just come back to the moment, be present. That's ultimately what this is engaging your senses so you get back into your body while you're eating. We're often just so gone, away, disconnected while we're eating from our body. And so if we can connect to our body, then we can recognize when it's full. We can recognize this doesn't taste very good. Maybe I don't want to eat it anymore. Or, this isn't really agreeing with me. Maybe I should stop, like there's just so much wisdom here, not there, not on the next article or the next book or the next professional. Like the wisdom is here. It's all within you. And so the food lover concept is a tool to just come back. So L stands for look at your food. O stands for observe what you taste and say thanks, right? So like really bringing in the palate. Is it sticky? Is it salty? Is it sweet? Is it chewy? Is it crunchy? Like, what is it? Like, get yourself involved in your eating and feeling grateful for our food, because the honest truth is there are a lot of people going hungry, and there's nothing wrong with gratitude, right? A moment of gratitude would be great. And then V stands for venture in. How is your body responding to the food in the moment? Again, feeling your belly fill up. We also have another concept called the hunger scale, which helps you feel your belly fill up, which feels very foreign. Oops. To a lot of women. Hold on one second. Oh yeah, sorry. So it feels very foreign to women at first, but you'll get it. It's practice. You're learning, you're opening up the lines of communication. They've been a little rusty. Okay. So just give it time. Yeah. And also, like, how are you feeling 20 minutes after a meal? Are you feeling bloated and gassy? Okay, then maybe we just shouldn't be eating that food. It's not that you're a bad person. It's not, there's no right or wrong, good or bad here. It's like, if what you just ate is making you feel like shit, then why? Okay, well, maybe we shouldn't eat it. Maybe we should scale back. Maybe we should have smaller portion of it, So again, just coming back to like respect, letting your body lead your choices and having enough respect for yourself to honor those choices. E stands for eliminate distractions internally, trying not to categorize food. I should eat this, I shouldn't eat that. It's practice, okay? Because we've been brainwashed to believe there are good foods and bad foods. There really aren't. So eliminate those internal distractions of like being a good girl or a bad girl, and then eliminating the distractions in your outer world, trying not to eat with a screen, which is just the norm now. It's just so normal.
Sadly, yeah.
Yeah, it is. And then R stands for rest your fork and breathe. Like just this one's also very much for me because your food tastes so much better when you're not inhaling it. So
Yeah.
yeah, just slowing down.
That's perfect. I love that. And I'd like to leave our moms with a quick action or challenge that people can perform today to start making changes. And then they could ask questions, let us know how it went. Can you share your challenge for the day for our mamas?
Yeah, just putting your hand on your body and closing your eyes and saying, what do you need right now? What's the most loving thing I can do for you right now? And maybe like some snarky voice comes up immediately. We call her Helga, and that's not the wisdom of your body. Okay, the wisdom of your body is like, well, I could really use a cocktail right now after what she just did. No, like that's that's not the wisdom of your body. Okay, and you just like excuse that, and you just take a breath and you tune in. And sometimes it's just like, I need some water. Like it sometimes can be very very simple, and that's okay. Like your body is not complicated. She's not extremely needy, truly. What she really needs is pretty basic, but we've just lost sight of that.
Yeah. No, that's such important things to come back to, because our brain says we need this, we need this, we need this, but it's not what our body does. So thank you for that challenge. And I know you also have a fabulous free gift for everyone. Can you share what that is and how people can connect with you further?
Yeah, it's called the Back to Me Challenge. So I came up with this my first summer break with a 4-month-old and a 6-year-old. And throughout the summer, I just realized that I really lost myself in all the doing and all the people pleasing and all of that stuff. And it was a really hard moment where I just realized, like, wow, where am I? And so I created this challenge called Back to Me, which was just coming back to myself, I was just giving so much. And so it was very well received. The women who did it live with me loved it. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to make this an evergreen. I'm going to make this something that people can do on their own. And so that's what you'll get. And it'll be just a daily email, a daily little challenge that's very based in Wildly Alive philosophies to help you come back to yourself, because that's the basics that you need, the foundation that you need to build onto the exercise. Like our reserves need to be intact. We need to be filling ourselves up on our very basic ways first before we can add in some of these other complexities that we think we should be doing now. And it's like, if you're not at the base core nourished, really exercise, it's not going to happen. Stop trying to force it. Just take care. That's like I was saying, like deep nourishment.
Yeah, that's powerful, because we can't give what we don't have, right? Anything else you want to share with our mamas before we wrap up?
Yeah, the one thing is, it just doesn't have to be so hard. Yeah, it doesn't have to be so hard.
Where can people connect with you?
wildlyalive.com.
Perfect. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
and then I have a free community, and it's called the Wildly Alive Playground group. And you'll actually, like, if you do the Back to Me challenge, you'll get a link to that. It's a really beautiful place to be. It's like Wildly Alive is really based on sisterhood and community. And so it's a really great place for women to just like hang out.
I'm in there. I've experienced it. It's fantastic. So
yeah,
go join it. Thank you, Nichole, for sharing such powerful information with us. And everyone, be sure to come back for more amazing summit speakers.